Good evening. It's 7 o'clock here in beautiful Ventura. The sky is blue, there are little bitty clouds in the sky, and it's been warm all day, which is not necessarily my favorite weather, but nonetheless, it's been warm all day. I hope it's been beautiful where you are. I hope that you have had a spectacular day, and I hope that you are centered and excited about spending some time together. And what else? Let me see. It's been a day here, but I'll get to that in a minute. Most of you know that back in the day, um, I used to have notes for my talks on Sunday so that there was some sort of cohesiveness between the services, especially when we were doing two and sometimes three services in a row on Sunday. I always wanted that if people ran into each other after church and discussed the talk, that they all felt like they had been to the same church and listened to the same talk. So I used notes. But my deal with myself on Wednesdays was that I would talk off the top of my head. I would talk about something that had grabbed my attention either in the last couple of days or that day, or as some of you know, over dinner just before church. Um, I love to eavesdrop. I, and I love to look at people sitting in like a restaurant or at a park or wherever and make up their life story for them. It just gives me something to do. And I usually make up a very nice life story for them. So yeah, I've always thought if they wanted to trade, I'd let them. They could have the one I made up for them. Anyway, I don't get out much right now. Uh, we don't go to restaurants. You can't. So I don't get as much of a chance to eavesdrop as I used to, and that leaves more to my imagination on Wednesdays than I originally thought I was comfortable with. But it's working out actually quite well. Let me see, who do I get to say hi to tonight? Hi, Peggy. Yippee! Yay! Hello, Brenda. Susan, why a heavy heart? Tell me. Tell me why a heavy heart. Or let me just talk around it and we'll get to it, won't we, tonight? Hi, Kirk. Glad you're here. Is Jennifer with us? What else? What else? I have a lot, as it turns out, to share with you. I didn't start out that way this morning, but I got there. I got there. I have one of the things I have absolute faith and trust in is that if I have no clue what I'm going to talk about, it's because what I need to know hasn't happened yet, or I haven't heard about it yet. The same thing happened last Sunday for those of you that were listening in. Um, I just couldn't get anything to work talk wise, and then I listened to the news Saturday night, and that took care of everything. Hi, Lainey. Good to see you, darling. Glad you're here. Yes, Jennifer is here. Hello, Laura. Glad you are here. Because the gang's all here. Yay. Well, not all the gang yet, but I think part of the gang, a good part of the gang, is here. So I'm very happy that you're here. Thank you for being here. It is not always easy, I know, to set aside time, especially in the middle of the week. You know, you're already on go and moving forward, and to stop and take an hour just for yourselves. Well, thank you for doing that, because I love all of you, and to want this hour to be a healing and a regathering time for you. Uh, Jennifer's here. Yes, glad that Jennifer is here. Glad you're all here. What a great space to be in your company. And thank you. Thank you very much for being here. I don't know if I would do this if you weren't here. I mean, somehow going online and talking to myself without knowing that anybody's listening would be difficult for me. I might do it. I'm crazy enough to do it. But thank you for being my excuse for doing it. I appreciate that. So we've been busy here in Ventura today. Um, it's been an interesting day, in that way that the Chinese use the word interesting. It's been challenging and it's been full of surprises. And I want to tell you about it. I just kind of wanted the day finally said to me, this is what you're supposed to be talking about. So I'm gonna. Um, Let me see. Well, why don't I just start? Why don't I just start? That's what I'm here for. I hope that's what you're here for. So let me do that and stay with me for a second. So here's my question for you tonight. Have you, especially recently, I think, have you felt powerless? Like you just really couldn't do anything about what was going on? A lot of us have felt that way, I think, this week as we watched the news, especially. What can we do? What can one person do to stop the chaos? What can we collectively do or individually do to find some order in our lives? And then more personally, I guess for me today, how do we get through a somewhat sucky day? If I had kept a personal power diary today, it would have read something like this. 8 a.m. Up, animals fed, birds fed, squirrels shoot off so that they don't eat the bird food. Power on, 8 a.m. Ready to go. Couple of talk ideas for tonight. Well, nothing I was really in love with, but a couple of ideas. I remember to communicate with Unity Ventura about music for Sunday, since I'm speaking for them on Sunday. I communicated with a client about not trying to communicate with me today after 9 a.m. I was up, I was dressed, I was moving, and then 9 a.m. happened. And it was power off. Literally. I mean, really, power off. PG&E in their infinite wisdom picked today to turn the power in the neighborhood off completely from 9 to 5. Last time they did that, we didn't have power until 7:30 p.m. because it turned out that the electrical box that they were supposed to be spending all day installing didn't work. Something very large just went by. So I said to myself, don't let this get to you. It's going to be all right. I had prepared. I had 2 backup laptops ready that have battery power that would do for me if I needed them to during the day. Have a cup of chai tea, I said to myself. It will all settle down. Journal. Do a tarot reading for myself. So I did. And I drew the Hanged Man. Now, most people think that's a terrible card. It's really not a terrible card. That the Hanged Man is hanging around waiting for enlightenment. See the little glow around his head? And actually, if you turn him right side up, he looks like he's dancing. So he really doesn't look like he's miserable at all. So he's not hung for offenses. He's just hanging around, waiting for enlightenment. Well, I was, wasn't I? So I thought, okay, well, that's a pretty perfect card for me for today. And recognizing that I already had a pretty perfect card, I realized that I could center myself and change my attitude, which needed a little adjustment. So I prayed. Power, mine, back on. 9:30, power, mine, off again. Realized I didn't plug in the second laptop last night to recharge its battery, just so that I could use it in case the first laptop ran out of juice midway through something like talk notes. Deep breath, centering. Power back on. Theirs, not mine. The real power, literally, back on. But I said to myself, for how long? Can I trust it? Can I trust them? No, this little voice in my head said, you can't. Remember last time. So I went ahead and plugged in the second laptop anyway, just in case the power actually did stay on. And then I realized there was another problem. Number one cat, our alpha boy, was clearly not well. He was, I think he just came in to tell you I'm telling the truth. He was very lethargic. He was sleeping on my bathroom rug, and he never comes in there. And he was trying to hide. So those of you who have cats know that none of those are good signs. So I got on the phone to make an appointment with the vet for tomorrow because I was sure they wouldn't be able to take him today, and I didn't think his vet worked today anyway. 10:30. Power back on. Mine and theirs. Well, theirs was actually still on, which of course allowed me to call the vet and get an appointment with the vet we wanted at 2 o'clock today. A miracle. A bona fide miracle. At that point, realizing that clearly the miraculous was happening and that the power was on and my power was on, I decided to take a giant leap of faith and reset the clocks. 11 a.m., power still on. Took shower, washed hair. Cat still not well, trying to hide. Prayed. It pretty much went on and off like that. On and off and on, off, on. For most of the rest of the morning and into the early afternoon. So let me jump ahead to the 2 o'clock vet appointment. Now, nothing's like it used to be. So you drive up and you call when you arrive, and the power was on. Got there on time, waited in the car. An assistant comes out and takes down all the things you already told them on the phone when you made the appointment. And then she takes the cat and the carrier and disappears into the offices. 2:30. Power, mine, waning. 2:45. Realize that it's the vet, our vet, talking to someone 2 cars over. And if she's talking to them, she hasn't even seen our cat yet. Power draining. Feeling kind of out of control. Prayed for cat. Power came up a little. Prayed for patience. Power came up some more. Decided to talk to you tonight about being powered on or powered off. Power on. I've got some paper, I've got a pen, I start taking notes, and the vet came out to discuss the cat. The cat needs tests, she said. One in particular would tell us all that we needed to know, and someone had been scheduled for that very test today, but they called and canceled. She called it a miracle. So we decided to accept the miracle. And she went back into the offices to perform the test, and it would be about an hour. So we waited. And while we waited, I found myself remembering something I had read years ago. Some of you may remember it because it was always a favorite of mine, and I probably pulled it out of the stockpile once every 5 or 6 years. It was about energy suckers. specifically electrical energy suckers, which seemed absolutely appropriate for tonight's talk about power and the electric company. So here's how it goes, because I found it. For years it has been believed that electrical bulbs emitted light. However, recent information has proven otherwise. Electric bulbs don't emit light. They suck dark. Thus we call them dark suckers. The dark sucker theory proves the existence of dark, that dark has mass heavier than that of light, and that dark is faster than light. Take, for example, the dark suckers, light bulbs, in the room where you are. There is less dark right next to the sucker than there is elsewhere, yes? And the larger the dark sucker, the greater the capacity to suck dark. Dark suckers in a parking lot have a much greater capacity than the ones in this room. As with all things, dark suckers don't last forever. Once they are full of dark, they can no longer suck, as proven by the black spot on a full dark sucker. Electric bulbs are not the only dark suckers. A new candle has a white wick. And you will notice that after the first use, the wick turns dark, representing all of the dark which has been sucked into it. If you hold a pencil next to an operating candle, the tip will turn black because it got in the way of the dark as it was flowing into the candle. So the next time you look at an electric bulb, remember that it is not a light emitter, but is indeed a dark sucker. Now that that is straightened out for you, I have a question for you. Are you a light emitter or a dark sucker? I'm told that a father and a child were looking at a toy in a toy shop, and the father simply couldn't figure out how the thing worked. So he took it to the clerk, who it turned out for sure was a dark sucker, and the father asked, "Isn't this rather complicated for a small child?" The clerk replied, "It's an educational toy. It is designed to teach a child how to live in the world today. Any way you put it together, it's wrong." If we take the way life looks too seriously, it could get depressing, couldn't it? Which is a very long way around getting to my point. When we feel powerless, are we really? Or are we simply one prayer, one thought, one acknowledgement away from turning the power back on? All we ever really have to do is flick the switch. So, powerless? Are you really? Feeling out of control is a dark sucker. Letting something you can do nothing about creates sucked darkness. Not doing something about something that you can do something about achieves the same result. I'd repeat that, but I'm not sure I can. So here's the bottom line. If you can do something, do it. Flick the switch. Turn the power on. Plug the computer in. Call the vet. If you are not powerless, you might be simply momentarily idea-less. But you always have the power. You just have to remember to turn it on. You can turn it on with a thought. You can turn it on with a prayer, which is always recommended. You can turn it on with action. There are so many ways you can turn the power back on when you feel powerless. You can use your divine imagination and your God-given talent. Like the dark suckers, centering, praying, doing what you can do changes the bulb. Oh, and the day. So here we are at the end of the day. We're waiting for test results on the cat, but it looks like there might be a heart problem, which we will deal with when we have sufficient information. And we will turn the recommendations over to the vet who has the training, and the healing over to a higher power. And the electrical power? Well, it was on again at 9:30, wasn't it? I told you that. And I'll bet you're waiting for me to say that was it and it stayed on all day. It didn't, apparently. It stayed on for a couple of hours, long enough for me to reset all the clocks. And then it was off, apparently for 5 more hours. So it's just as well I left the house so I didn't be frustrated by it. And I left the fixing of whatever it was to the capable gentleman who worked for PG&E, because it wasn't my job. There wasn't anything I could do about it. So I turned it over to the power company. What was mine to do was take down some notes so that I could tell you about my enlightening day. And now I have. Thank you for listening. I hope you get as much out of my day as I did. I told you it was that kind of a day. So, hail, hail. Dana's here now. Ginger's here. So we had some hearing stuff again, huh? Some not loud enough stuff. Let me try something. I'm going to shoot my sound here all the way up. Well, almost all the way. Ah! Oh, I hate that. If I speak in a normal voice, is that better? Let me know if that's any better, or if I'm just listening to loud noises over here by myself and probably going to scare myself to death when I forget I've done that and turn something else on. Let me know. Thank you, Susan. My cat appreciates your blessings very, very much. He's a sweetheart. When they brought him back out to us, the assistant said, he's the softest cat I've ever met. He feels like a bunny. And he does. He does feel like a bunny. It's pretty terrific. He's a, what did we say, 15-year-old lynx point. And he's beautiful. And he's been a calendar centerfold. And he's a character. His name is Percival. Because he's, cat, that's, I can hear that. I don't. Oh, okay. Because he was a sweet little boy who lived in the forest with his mother. So we named him Percival, which seemed appropriate, especially since I was going through my Grail Quest stuff at the time. Percival is a magnificent cat. He's a little bit of a bully, just in a way cats are. And we're kind of trying to know a nice long life for him yet ahead. His name was Norman when we got him. And he looked like a Norman when we got him. But now he's just a big, beautiful, probably 15, 16-pound cat, and all the lady cats love him. So we want him to be well. And he would appreciate your prayers. So, is the sound any better now that I have turned it up? Did that make a difference for anybody at all? Because I don't think it's on this end. I think it's got something to do with Facebook, honestly. And we've got yet another new microphone. So we're trying. We really are trying. Um, Next step up, I know what I will order. It's for podcasting and it's extremely highly rated. But this should be working great. I don't know why it isn't. Will it be better if I talk like this? I can't talk like this. I can't hold this thing. I'll be crazy. We'll think of something better. We will. We will. We'll work it out. So, talk to me what's going on in your life. How are the dark suckers? Okay, hold on. Here we go. Good grief. There. Okay, let me know if that makes any difference. What's going on in your life? Any dark suckers? Any light suckers? Any suckers? No, I shouldn't say that. I shouldn't say that. So I didn't. We take it back, even though it is now saved for posterity on this video. How's it going? It's been a rough week, hasn't it? It's been a rough week. I mean, unless you've been living under a rock someplace or absolutely forbid yourself to listen to any of the news, it's been a hard week. Our towns are burning. Not because of protesters. I love that the protesters are out there. They have a right to do that. It is good that they are doing that. They are saying that wrongs have been committed and it is time to make changes. And I absolutely believe that it is. I think all of us do. But the other side of that is there are those who are taking advantage of the situation. And they are looting and burning. And I don't know about all of you. Some of you are still pretty young, but some of us remember too many of these. And it hurts to see it happening again. And just when we think we maybe have made some progress, we are reminded that we still have a very long way to go. But maybe this one will make a difference. It feels different to me. It feels different to me. And the looting and the burning is not being caused by the protesters as it was in the past, sometimes, but by people who have a different agenda. And I hope they get caught. I hope all of them get caught. I know that the odds against that are pretty slim, but I think that would be good. I think we have seen some police departments respond magnificently. And those are the ones that I would like to see really have our support and make a difference. I would like to see that their efforts to do things differently are rewarded by making the world a different place. And there are some that are still trying to do things the old way. And apparently have not yet figured out that it wasn't working. So, what do we do in times like this? Well, I think we bless one another. I think we work with one another. I think we raise up the people who are trying to make a positive difference, who are coming from love, who are coming from caring. And I think we hold accountable those who are not. What do we do personally? I pray. And then what we are called to do, whatever that is for each one of us, we do. Answer the call. Whatever it is you are called to do, whatever action you are called to take, do that. Okay, I'm looking at your comments. Thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you for letting me know. Okay, so turning the sound up worked and bringing the microphone closer to my mouth worked. Laura's talking about it's so important to support the protesters. I couldn't agree more. I couldn't agree more. They are doing something for all of us, whether we can get out and do it or not. And I think absolutely we want to support the work that they are doing. Yeah, Dana, I started out talking about that on and off and on and off and on and off and on and off. It's easy to fall off the spiritual path when you're being barraged by so much. And this past week particularly has been incredibly bombarding. It is for us, though, I think, to remember that there is something we can do, to not allow ourselves to feel powerless. I was just so aware today that every time I felt powerless, if I would stop for a minute and do something, pray, center myself, remember something, take an action, that it made a difference. It lifted me back up again. It may not have changed what made me feel powerless, but it changed my feeling of powerlessness. Do something. Say something. Take a stand. Pray. Do something that will change your mind, because when you changed your mind, you change your actions. And when you change your mind, your words and your actions, you start to change the world. I know, Susan, sometimes it does feel like 2 steps forward, 6 steps backwards, but it's never really 6. It never is. 2 steps forward is 2 steps forward. The problem is, from then, if we find ourselves slipping back, it feels like we've fallen back 6 steps, but you haven't. You know what that 2 steps forward felt like. You know how to get there, and you can get back there again. And that's the secret. Going back to that place and then taking 2 more steps forward. You can do it. I know you can do it. You wouldn't be here if you couldn't do it. Kendra says, unfortunately, many are in leadership positions. Yes, that's true. And we have an election coming up, don't we? And I'm not going to get political. Everyone has a right to their own opinion and a right to their own vote. But I am going to ask that everybody pray before they vote. Pray for the clarity that you need. Pray for the truth to be revealed. Pray for the highest good. And I mean pray with all your heart. It's vital. Dana talks about holding the light of love for healing as well as taking action. Absolutely. Absolutely. If you come from love in a difficult situation, and are committed to coming from love. Regardless of what may be thrown at you, regardless of what the situation may be, if you come from love, you will infect everyone with it. Love is contagious. Love is what we all want. Unless we are so totally distracted, we aren't even where we ought to be. Love is what we all want to experience. It's what we all want to do. It's what we all want to have in our lives. Love changes everything. It is the place to come from. It is the divine within you expressing itself at the very highest level. There is nothing purer than love. And yes, Lainey talks about a shift happening. And don't you think yes? Don't you think so? You know, we sang about the age of Aquarius, and the year 2000 was supposed to have been part of that. And I think it was part of the beginning, but just the beginning. And I think we may be into the thick of it right now. And this is no time to give up on love. This is no time to give up on yourself. If you feel like you've taken 2 steps forward and then got thrown 6 steps back, get up, dust yourself off, walk forward 8 steps, put yourself back in that 2 step, and then take 2 more. We can't quit now. We can't stop loving now. There was a card that I showed the other day, and I'm not going to make you wait while I go through the deck looking for it again. Well, maybe I will. Just real quick, I'll see if I can find it. It's the Ten of Wands. Here it is. Doesn't he look tired? Don't we all feel tired? What there is about this card, though, is the recognition that the burden is heavy, but also the recognition that he's almost there. The awareness that if he just keeps going a few more steps, he'll be there. And what he's been working for will be accomplished. Now, are there just a few more steps? No, I think there's probably plenty more steps. But we're walking together now, aren't we? Some of the police have put down their batons, put down their stun guns, taken off their hats, and started walking. Others still have the lesson to learn, but they're learning. More and more it is happening. More and more they are realizing that the old ways don't work. It has to be done a new way, and that the place that they stand in is love. More and more. We who know can help set the example too. You don't have to go out and walk with the protesters. If you want to, certainly do. And if you feel healthy and safe doing that, certainly do. If you are of a certain age, if you are working with a compromised immune system, then it's probably not a good idea to go out and do that. But love from where you are. Pray for the police. Pray for the protesters. Pray for the truth to be revealed and for the right to be wronged. Pray for all of that. You can do it. You must do it. That's your job. See, there is what is God's to do. There's what is that for others to do, and there is what is yours to do. And you can pray, and you can love, and that is always yours to do. I know you can do it. Not everyone knows that yet. And so we get those who act wrongly, who do bad things, who do things that don't work for society in general and probably in the long run don't work for them as well. But there's another whole talk. What I know is this: we can always pray. We can always love. That's a choice. And it's a powerful one. Do that. Pray, love, love, pray. Eat if you want to in there so it comes out sounding like a book title. Eat, pray, love. Drink your lattes and pray and love and meditate and do what you can to make this world a calmer, better, higher place than it is or has been. We can do that. Why not? You don't even have to leave home to do it. You don't have to comb your hair. You don't have to change clothes. You don't have to put a hat on. You don't have to do any of that. You can sit home and change the world if you come from love. And if you come from love, then what you need to do other than that, what you are guided to do, will become so clear to you that you can't possibly miss it. Please pray. Please love. We have spent too much time complaining, too much time blaming and name calling. It serves no purpose. Let us serve a higher purpose. Let us answer to a higher authority. And while we are doing that, we can pray and we can listen to the still small voice. And we can take action where appropriate for each of us, and it will be different for each of us. I'm reading your comments right now. Yes, Susan, you are. I've always known that about you. Do you forget sometimes? Yes, you are. And yes, this is a very strong prayer group. You know my theory. Oh, I'm sure you have. I'm sure I've mentioned it several times. I love the old where two or more are gathered, there in the midst of them am I. Well, where one is gathered, there in the midst of it is the power. But when two come together in that prayerful state of mind, it is as though it is amped up. And if one of them slips just a little bit or falters for a moment, then the power of the other one lifts that. Now multiply that by 4 or 8 or 16 or 32 or 100. It doesn't matter. Where two or more are gathered, there in the midst of it is incredible, unlimited power. We can use that. We can use it. Let's use it. In fact, let's use it right now. Shall we? Let's. And join me if you will. Close your eyes if that's comfortable. If it's not, then just soft focus. You know the drill. And here we are. And in the midst of us, the powerful presence of God. Right here. Open your heart, open your mind, and allow yourself to feel it. The swelling of your heart in recognition that within you is the power of creation. Within you, the power to create peace. Within you, the love that passes all understanding. Peace, love, creation, unlimited within you. Take a breath and feel it filling every part of your being. And exhale anything within you that you thought was not that. We don't need anger. We don't need frustration. We don't need chaos. We need only to know who we are and what we can do. We don't need to get even. We need only to get things right. Love is the answer. Love is the way. It begins with loving yourself as being a place where God is, where unlimited love resides. Those who do wrong do so out of fear and greed, which is born of envy. When we come from love, we don't need that. Perfect love banishes fear. Take a moment now, allow yourself once again to feel the power, to feel the presence, to feel the love. Allow the love to fill you, to fill every fiber of your being, every cell. There is no place where it is not. And it is at the same time all around about you. You have plenty. And every time you inhale love and fill yourself even more with its power and its presence. And every time you exhale, you breathe that love into the world, changing it. Changing yourself. Changing everything. We are one with the very love of creation itself, the heart of all that there is. Allow that love to guide you, to direct you, to show you the way. It will. And if you think you have stumbled, allow that love to pick you back up again and place you on the path and nudge you forward. It will do its work. Allow others to do theirs and do what is yours to do. Love like there was no end to it, for there isn't. It is the one immeasurable thing in the universe. I am grateful tonight for the immense love and the power in this group, for the difference that each of you does and continues to make in this world. For the difference, the positive, loving difference you will make in the days to come. Grateful that we have the opportunity to do this work together and be part of the shift to making this world what it has always been meant to be. Grateful. And I let it be so. And so it is. We have our work cut out for us, but it's not hard. And it is rewarding. And it never hurts to pray. It always makes you feel better. Power on. Thank you for being here tonight. Yes, Kat, thank you for the reminder. Nancy de los Santos has asked that we take our flashlights out on our porches tonight at 9 o'clock to show solidarity. Turn them on and shine them up into the sky. We'll do it from here. Let's light up the sky with beams of solidarity. Isn't there an 8-minute something that you're supposed to leave them on? For 8 minutes. That's where I got 8. Okay, so take your flashlights out onto your porches or out into your sidewalks. It doesn't make any difference. 9 o'clock, turn them on, leave them on for 8 minutes. And breathe. Breathe. 8 minutes was all that Mr. Floyd had. Let us breathe for him and because of him for 8 minutes. Light up the sky. And if you're the only one in your neighborhood doing it, well, good for you. Maybe somebody will ask you what you're doing. And wouldn't that be just grand? Thank you for being here. Thank you, those of you who have been sharing the videos. So appreciated. I can't be everywhere, but you're getting me to a lot of places. Thank you to those of you who have been going to the Relevant Spirituality site and checking things out there and making donations. That's much appreciated as well. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you, Kat, for all of your help. Thank you to the vet today and PG&E. God bless them. And mostly thank you for being here, for listening, for your wonderful comments. Contagious love, Jennifer says. Yes, it is. And yes, this week let us share more love. We begin with each other. Jennifer's corrected me. Thank you. I thought there was something more, but I couldn't remember what it was. Shine your light for 8 minutes and 49 seconds. 8 minutes, 49 seconds out on your porch tonight. It'll make a difference. You may not know what difference it makes, but it will make a difference because of your intention, because of your action, and because you're doing something you can do. You're a powerful group. I wouldn't want to argue with you. I love you all very, very much. You have an hour to go find your flashlight and put some batteries in it. We'll be here Sunday at noon. Ventura Unity at 10 a.m. We'll post the link on this site here. It's a different talk than the one that I'll be giving at noon. So if you really can't get enough of me, please come twice on Sunday. Thank you, Kirk. Love you all very, very much. Very grateful for your presence in my life. Thank you. And Percival appreciates your prayers as well. See you Sunday. See you again next Wednesday. And until we meet again, know that you go with God because you can't go any other way. Hashtag